Good evening, everyone. How are you doing tonight? It's Kathy here with my spiritual tea talk on Tuesday nights. Um, I just wanted to talk tonight about some of the symbols that we might be finding when we're doing a reading about love in our teacups. Since it's February and we're very close to Valentine's Day, it seemed like a really great theme to focus on. So if you're here, I'd love for you to say hi and let me know that you're joining us. If you have any questions about the symbols we talk about tonight, I'd love for you to let me know, and hopefully I can answer any questions you might have, and be able to show you a little bit of what goes on when we do a reading, or what some of the symbols might be. So feel free, as I said, to let me know that you're here, and if you have any questions. I'll talk a little bit about me. My name's Kathy. I'm a tea leaf reader, or and a sipology consultant. I've been reading tea leaves for well over 4 years professionally, and I've been with Sipology, or Steep Tea, for over 8 years. So they provide quality loose leaf teas and tea accessories. If you're a tea drinker, you definitely need to check out their products. So let me know if that appeals to you. So let's get started with some of these symbols. So we're doing a tea reading, and one of the questions you have is related to love or relationships. So what do you want to know about, how your love life is going? Are you going to meet somebody new? Are you, is the love of your life already here and you didn't recognize that relationship yet? Or maybe you're with someone now and things aren't going perfectly, or, all sorts of things related to romance and love. So that's what we're going to be talking about tonight. So I thought I would start with some of my favorite cards to see in the readings, and I do have some of my favorites are the dog cards. So um, as you may not even think about the fact that we have just a card that symbolizes dog. So dog to me is very much that unconditional love and caring that we have when we have that relationship with our pet. So when we see a dog in our cup, that's a nice sign for that unconditional love. Now, we might see more than one dog, so dogs. In this card, on this one, they say it's about getting together with friends. I still think of it as that unconditional love and having that support around you, almost more like family, and having a good relationship when I see the dogs. And then a dog, which they say is far away. Obviously, that's harder to see in a cup. Not so hard to do on a these cards, but in the cup it would be difficult to see. But this is saying that you have a distant friend that's thinking of you. So in a love um, reading, this might mean that you have some sort of secret admirer, or somebody maybe that you grew up with or that's moved away, and you hadn't even thought about them and that relationship. So it might be a reminder for you to go back and connect with someone that you hadn't connected in a while. And usually when something like this shows up, you know who I'm talking about. If I say connect with that person that you haven't seen in a long time, that might live far away, and there might be a romantic connection, which is what we're talking about tonight. So as well as having the dogs, which I love, there's also all of these symbols that represent different people. So there is a man, there is a woman, there is a younger man, there is a dark haired man, there is a fair haired woman, there is a dark haired woman, there is an older man, there is a younger woman, and there is an older woman, and there is a fair man. So obviously, if we're doing a reading and using the cards, if one of these comes up, and you're asking specifically about relationships, it could indicate which type of person or some of the characteristics that might be there for a person. And again, that might spark for you when we say a fair-haired person, you might go, oh, right away, that's Don or Chuck or whoever, Manuel, I don't know what his name is, but right away you would probably say to me, oh, I know who that might be. And if it's not, because sometimes we are pro, predicting things that are going to happen in the future, so maybe this guy hasn't even shown up yet. So when somebody like this shows up and there's a spark, you have that confidence to say, okay, I would like to pursue that relationship. I would like to dig a little deeper into who this is and whether or not it might be a relationship that I want to continue with. So, yeah, so as you can see, there's a variety of cards when we're talking about people and matching and love that are available in these cards. So, what else might you have appear in your reading? Now, these two are similar, well, opposites actually. So we have a chair that's empty and we have a chair that's full. So basically, what these are representing is someone coming into your life or someone leaving your life. So again, if you, depending on what questions you asked, you may say, am I going to, find a spouse for this year or sometime this year? And the chair empty indicates that that may be happening. Someone's going to be coming into your life. Obviously, the chair filled is indicating, oh, sorry, I've got it backwards. This chair filled is someone new coming into your life. Chair empty is someone leaving your life. So there's somebody or some relationship. And I always say too that the reason why something needs to leave is so that something better can come in. So don't always be upset about endings or things coming to a conclusion. We need to kind of set them free and allow them to finish so that we can move on to bigger and better things. So it's not always a bad thing to say that something or someone is leaving. So those two the chairs are an interesting concept or contrast, having both of them in too. Now we had talked too about the secret admirer. So the vase is another one that comes in and might indicate that there's somebody that you hadn't even thought about that might be in your life that thinks about you and would like to connect, and you're just, maybe you weren't ready at that time. So it's a chance for you to go a little deeper and think about who that may be in your life when we see the vase. Now we've got the opposite kind of with the teardrop. So here's a teardrop that might be coming through in your reading, and that's indicating deep sorrow. And I mean, we all have gone through breakups. We've all gone through relationships that haven't worked. So it's not a surprise to have this be represented. Obviously, we'd like to not be going through that, but it might be coming through as well when we talk about relationships in your reading. Now, the bow also is similar to what we were seeing in the vase there. So you are highly thought of. I've had this one come up as well with people that are asking me about career, um, and it's an indication that there is someone or something that is out there that is appreciating what they're doing and seeing the merit. So it's always a nice thing to see the bow. Next one I have the stork. Now the reason why I pulled out the stork, even though to me it might not be about relationships, because it's about a new business opportunity or a birth, But I do get people who ask me about conceiving and about if there will be a second child or a first child in their relationship. So when I think about relationships, it's not unusual for me to have the stork come through there as well. But as it says too, it's also about beginnings. So there might be some new opportunity or a chance to meet someone. So maybe you start a new business and then you end up having a new partner or someone that you work with as well. So the stork could represent something like that. A bell, which is an announcement. So when someone's asking me about marriage, seeing a bell is a good sign because the bell represents that announcement or, um, having something to proclaim. Like we used to ring the bell and formally announce these sort of engagements or whatever. So we go back to those days when we see the bell. A diamond. Now, the saying on this is you'll be receiving or giving a precious gift. But if somebody asked me about romance and whether or not they'd get engaged, and I see a diamond, my, I automatically think, yes, there's an engagement ring. Because that's what here our society considers to be an engagement ring would be a diamond. I mean, I'm not saying you couldn't get another type of ring for an engagement. I'm just saying traditionally this is what we think of. And so therefore my thoughts would be right away, yes, there's an engagement because we see the diamond. And even the firecracker would be the same thing. There's something to celebrate. There is a relationship. I've had this with as well the flag when I do relationships, and that's really a symbol that you shouldn't be lowering your standards. So maybe you're putting up with something that you really shouldn't be putting up with in your relationship. Maybe there's an addiction, maybe there's yelling, whatever going on, and this is a sign for you to look at that relationship and decide where you're going to draw that line in the sand. So um, that one's always an interesting one as well to get. But a tulip, look at the tulip, great passion. So we'd all love to see that if we're asking about relationship. The crib too was kind of like the stork, new beginnings, new things coming in. It's an interesting card. Automatically we think baby, but not necessarily birth or conception of a child or enterprise. So this could represent something new coming in. Um, and I have, oh, there we go, it's right there. The other one, of course, if you're asking about relationships and we get the ring, that's a wonderful sign. So marriage will take place, either romantic or business. So there could be a business relationship too when I say ring. But if our initial question was about relationships and getting married or some seriousness, the ring would be a wonderful sign as opposed to the opposite, which is the broken ring, which is indicating that there's some break in this marriage or this relationship. So this one says parting of the ways in either romance or business. So we've got the opposites here that might be available when we're doing a reading. The pineapple, a reconciliation. So this one would indicate that we're able to patch things up and to move forward. So a nice relationship card. Even the bird perched, because the bird is representing some sort of news coming in. So if you're waiting to hear about something or waiting to hear from someone, this is a good sign that you're going to get that message. I'm hurrying up a little bit here, sorry. Rose. A rose is also a nice sign when we're talking about romance and relationships. And this one says, romance is in the air. So we like to get that. And again, you can see why I prefer to pull more than one card, because just one card will give us a feeling or give us some, but it doesn't really tell a whole story. So I like to actually pull a bunch of cards, and therefore I'm able to tell a bit more of a story. Even getting the heart is a wonderful gift to get during a tea reading. This one would say is love, deep affection, and caring. So if you're ever, you know, asked me a question and you weren't 100% sure how your partner was feeling or whether or not it was long term, getting this would be a yes to that sort of question and giving some answers to that. As opposed to the flute, which is the disappointment in what's going on and the relationship, and maybe some changes need to be made. So anyways, I've got a couple other cards, but I'm going to stop there because we've hit the 15-minute mark, and I do want to thank everyone who's had the opportunity to watch or to follow along. As I mentioned earlier, if you had questions, I'd be happy to answer them. Hopefully, this makes sense as to how I kind of tie things together. Again, I'm always using my intuition, so I will feel whether or not something feels masculine or feminine, or I may feel whether or not something short term or long term, and whether things are positive or negative. Those sort of things are what I would also pick up while I'm doing a reading. But I wanted to also let you know about my February special. I am offering 2 readings, so if you want to do a partner, if you want to do 2 girlfriends, if you want to do a mother-daughter, I've done them as well. As long as you book 2 readings together, you can have my special. So if you book a 30-minute reading for each of you, it'll be $80 when it's normally 100. And if you book the 60-minute reading, it would normally be 150 and it's 125. So if you're interested in that, please send me a message and we'll get you scheduled in the next couple weeks. As well, I wanted to mention my wonderful subscription service. So if you're interested in learning more about spirituality, metaphysical, and join a group of ladies that are just here to support you and help you on your personal growth. I have my spiritual tea talk subscription service, which I'd love to welcome you into. So please leave me a message if that is something that you'd like more information. I'm really excited about building this community and being able to help other people who may feel a little lost or unsure, as I was when I was first getting into this industry and figuring out what my gifts were. So I'd be so grateful to be able to support you along your way. So I'll leave it at that. Again, please let me know if you watch the replay or if you have any questions. I'm always here to help. So we'll say goodbye and we'll thank you again for watching. Have a good night.